And we are back with another episode of the Hockey Princess podcast. I am your host, the Hockey Princess. We have Krusty Old Guy once again, back from his trip to the Big Apple. Just as a reminder, folks, make sure to hit that like and subscribe on either Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, YouTube, however you watch or listen to his ramble on a weekly basis. How you feeling, Krusty?
I feel good. A lot of back and forth, But now I'm back here. I'm ready to start paying more attention. But besides that, I feel good.
If you thought Krusty was paying attention during the off season, wait until the regular season. It's a whole different level.
Yes, it is. So we're just starting to get into it. So it was nice to see the prospects play.
Yeah.
And yes, New York was very nice. Thank you for asking.
Yeah. Let's get into the big world first. We've got kind of a mixed bag of things. The drama is still drama-ing that we talked about last week with no Kaprizov extension, no McJesus extension. It's still going on. Unless I missed something in the last 20 minutes on Twitter, Krusty.
No, but I didn't even, since I've been traveling, I watched and then traveled, I didn't hear anything. It makes me wonder, they were in Minnesota. Was Billy Guerin not available? Because that should be questions that people are asking. I didn't see anything on the X, the Y, or the Z that said they even asked him about it. I got to figure people would have been hounding him. Maybe they all just sit on their perch and didn't talk to anybody.
Maybe.
So, but go on. Speed bump number one. So
the drama is still drama-ing. We have injury report for Florida Panthers. Matthew Tkachuk is likely out until December. And by that, we mean Matthew Tkachuk is likely out until, I want to say, 5 days before the Olympics starts. Maybe we'll do a little fall media tour. Again, it worked out well for him last time in the spring. But then also what we talked about, guys, remember, he can't be out too long because, one, the Olympics, and two, you still have to be cap compliant going into the playoffs.
Yes, they'll figure all that out. And yes, I do believe the Olympics is a huge deal for him.
Oh, yeah.
So I think if you're a Panther fan, you've just accepted that because that would be a little awful. You're maybe going to get him a couple games back before the Olympics, and then you worry about something happening to him in the Olympics. But everything he went through, he's a tough dude. So he'll figure it out.
Definitely is. And the opposite, who's not injured going into camp. A lot of people expected him to be injured. I think Krusty kind of thought that, after the big fluff of him coming back for the postseason, then he was going to go right back to being injured. And that is your Gabriel Landeskog is set to be healthy for the start of the season. It's great for Landeskog. It's great for the Colorado Avalanche. And gosh darn it, in my opinion, it's good for hockey for Gabriel Landeskog to be there. But I'm just a big fan.
Oh, yeah. I wasn't too concerned about him making it for camp. I'm concerned about the condensed schedule and his age and on all that new equipment for the grind of 4 games a week. Yes. I in no way hope that it doesn't work out for him.
No, we very much would like to see him healthy. And then final one before we get into it, a little bit of Olympic talk. Connor Ingram has parted with the Utah Mammoth. It was mutual kind of decision, just looking for a fresh start elsewhere. Ingram was with them when they were still back in Arizona, so he's been with the organization for a period of time. I know Ingram has struggled with different battles, on and off the ice in his own personal life for the past couple of years. So I wish him whatever's going on with him, I hope it gets better shortly.
I hear you.
That's the way I can describe it.
Yeah, and again, it's a job. It's not everything. Just like all the rest of us, it's what they do for a living.
Yeah.
But you still have the rest of life, and it's difficult on everyone. And some people, it's even more difficult. So let's just leave it at that and
Exactly.
wish them the best.
Absolutely. Jumping back to some Olympics, because the Team USA coaching, the full behind the bench came out. Canada's, Sweden, and Finland's, most importantly, Finland's has not come out yet. But Team USA, there was a surprise on it. Christy, I don't know if you were surprised by
I have not heard it yet.
Oh, goodness. Let me find it. But there was definitely, some that I was already expecting just because, they've either coached on international competitions or they were already announced. Give me 1 second.
You've got a second. Go ahead.
Hockey coaching. Give me the picture. So you got Mike Sullivan as the head coach. We already knew that. That was not a surprise. You have David Quinn, John Hines, and like a zombie coming back from the dead, John Tortorella.
Does not surprise me.
The Torts one surprises me.
I don't think you quite understand the amount of hype that is going to be. And what better hype guy than Torts? The
Those
human
babies.
soundbite. So, I mean, that just tells me this whole thing is going to be over the top. So.
Oh, do you want to hear the management staff under Mr. Billy Guerin?
Sure.
Well, we've got a couple, I'm going to be honest, there's some names that I have no idea who these individuals are. You've got some other notable, your Bill Zito, your Chris Drury, your Tom Fitzgerald, and the enemy. I wish I still had the shirt that encouraged management to fire this man.
Oh, I've still got mine.
And that is your Stan Bowman as a part of the Team USA management staff. Guys, Canada's going to win this so fast.
So we've got like 7 GMs also on this thing?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know.
I need that question answered. 7 GMs.
Well, it's the GM and then management staff. So it's Billy Guerin's henchmen in Italy.
That just all seems silly. This is, I guess, one big party, and they're all going to take advantage of going to Italy. That's what all this sounds like.
Yeah.
I don't see what any of them do of importance.
I don't either, but maybe the good vibes of Bill Zito can balance out Billy Guerin. But one can hope. What do I know? I'm cheering for Finland anyway.
Well, I will be cheering for the US of A.
Well, yes, because I'm manifesting it. You'll have Showtime and Seth Jones at the Olympics, and what's not to love about that?
Yeah, that's a conversation for another time, but it should be a humdinger, as I said. I have a feeling I can't imagine the whole tournament lives up to the hype. Because the hype is going to be off the charts.
Yeah.
So.
Should be fun. All right. Got anything else in the NHL, the hockey world, before we jump to the big club? We haven't talked about the big club in a hot minute.
I know. And now it's all big club all the time.
Yeah, we're just going to talk about the big club the whole rest of the show.
Nice. I've got nothing else in the NHL world. As I said, I haven't completely started hunkering down. I will halfway soon. It's a long season. Krusty needs his rest a little bit.
That is true. But before we get to the big club, it's big club adjacent. We had a camp this weekend. There was hockey. Things were happening. There were games to be played. And that was the Tom Curvers Prospect Showcase in Minnesota. Do you know where that is? I was trying to figure out where, because they're like, it's not like a normal rink. Like they're in some sort of like building. But it seems different than like the Fifth Third, where it's like, yes, this is an ice rink and only an ice rink.
I believe their practice facility is adjacent to the main building.
Oh, sweet.
Do not quote me on any of that.
Good to
But
know.
yes, there was the constant talk of the sun.
Yeah, the sun in their eyes. The little bit of sun. That was interesting.
Of course, quite crazy. I'm trying to remember, but I thought that it was adjacent to the main rink. So, but
sounds right. I'll go with that. But yeah, we had 2 games. At the end of the day, before we get into anything, it was good to watch hockey. It was good to watch Blackhawk prospects play hockey. And that is kind of really the big theme. But we're going to get to some nitty-gritty things because there were some people that were a little too over the moon about certain performances. And I don't know about you, Krusty, but I'm a little confused. So first night, we get the first game.
Well, hold on. Before we get to the first night, I do need to say that I made it to practice.
Yes, you did.
So I was able to watch a practice. And I found out I was the only one in the stands. It was all the other XYZ people who sat on their little bench where the tables are at. I was the only one in an actual seat. And as I think I told you, I will say, at least for the prospects, it was pretty ramped up. It's more ramped up than I've seen before in the last 5 years.
Love it.
So it was physical, but the pace to every drill was bing, bang, boom, bang. There wasn't a lot of sitting around. So I really liked the way it was handled.
Shout out to Jared Nightingale, your future Rockford coach.
Yeah. And it wasn't very easy on the goaltenders, but the goaltenders, obviously, it was helpful to them to get peppered every practice because it definitely paid off in the games over the weekend. So
yeah.
And after that, I will defer back to you for the beginning.
Well, I have a question. Because for those who don't know, the Prospect Showcase was coached by Jared Nightingale, Rockford's future head coach. Do you think at any point Blashill's having a conversation with Nightingale prior to the showcase or the showcase this weekend, kind of like, this is like the expectation and like how you...
I do not believe so. I believe it should be, that should have already happened a while ago, as far as if you're talking systems.
Yeah, in terms of like coaches talking about like what's the expectation in terms of systems going into the showcase weekend / I mean, obviously I would hope that they're having conversations going into the regular season, but especially because some of these kids, let's be honest, some of these kids are going to be in Chicago, some of these kids are going to be Rockford, some of these kids are going to be back in junior. So it's not even like Blashill's worried about like you need to start coaching them this way because when they're in Chicago in a month and a half, this is what they're going to be expected.
Yeah, no, I don't think there was anything like that. I have no insider information, but as I said, I would assume they have already sat down for a while as far as what they're implementing,
right?
On 5-on-5, what they're implementing for their breakouts, their forecheck, their power play, penalty kill. So I think that was all laid out. I mean, how they're going to play should be the same at both places.
Right.
So I think Nightingale completely was already squared away for that. And I don't think there was anything as far as we want you to do X, Y, or Z as the players. I'm sure he was told that, at least the two guys were only going to play one game. Again, that's just
Three guys.
Well, I think Moore. I'm not positive Moore was set up to only play one to begin with.
It still doesn't matter. It was three guys who only played one game.
Right. So I don't think they really discussed that too much. But as far as the systems and how they're going to play, and that's, I'm sure, already been discussed. So
nice. Yeah. First game, I watched both. But first game, I think my favorite guy has got to be the new goaltender, Stanislav Bereznoi. I already told Krusty this, but if that's even like the baseline or this kid on a bad day, I feel more comfortable if Drew gets called up, if Drew is hurt, or if something happened and like he is in the net for more than just an occasional game or like the second night in a back-to-back. I feel more comfortable, and I think he's going to be a good pairing for Drew in Rockford. Other big takeaways that I liked, the Spellacy kid is Tom Wilson in the making. I can hope. And so he's always going to be entertaining. Really liked the Ashton Cumby kid. Shout out to one of our TikTok followers that when I was on live a couple of weeks ago was telling me all about how much we were going to like the Ashton Cumby kid because they're out in Seattle at the moment and like watches them during juniors. You were so right. Ashton Cumby he's very, very fun to watch. So those were at least my like favorite guys to watch, not necessarily I think had the best performance. Still intrigued by the Pridham kid. I think Green had glimpses in terms of like spots that looked really good, and then there were spots where it was like, yeah, this isn't bad, but this is something that can be coached in Rockford. Renzel's amazing, but I'm always going to say Renzel's amazing. I'm biased. Artie looks like Artie. I think the biggest takeaways, at least for me, for the first game, because Moore didn't play in the second game, Moore and Largardis should not come up to Chicago before the holidays, at least. They need to be down in Rockford. There is absolutely no reason, barring we have something from like 2 seasons ago where half the team is on injured reserve. I think there were times where it looked good, but I think it was certain situations that were already playing to their strengths. Nick Lardis is always going to look good on the rush. He will 10 out of 10 times. And same with Oliver Moore. The kids are fast. But I think there were also too many times where I was like, this can be coached in Rockford. There were too many mistakes for me. And there are enough mistakes where I don't think that they need to suffer through learning these mistakes in the NHL and be put in a Korchinski position.
Yeah, I don't disagree. The first game was nice. Again, the goaltending was probably the best part of it.
Bereznoi, insane.
I'll agree with you on Put a Spell on Me and the Gumby kid. The Gumby kid will be nice down in Rockford. He won't be taking a lot of crap. Put a Spell on Me is entertaining.
Yeah.
Is he anything else besides entertaining?
Who knows, but who cares?
I don't know.
Have entertaining anymore.
That's correct. As far as Moore and Lardass, I understand Moore had the nice goal. And as I say, NHL hockey is not played 3-on-3, though. Okay? you're not going to get those looks. And the two of them got pinned in their own end an awful lot in that game. And I still see the occasional flying of the zone by Moore that I cannot.
Goal, St. Louis's first goal, that first game.
So I think they're going to string along. The Moore might be making the team. It's good for the press and everything else. I mean, they're trying to do a lot of things here. You've still got more tickets to sell. You've still got a product that you want to promote. And your big league product.
Making the team with what room?
You need to understand that not everybody pays enough attention to understand if there's room or not. But we will educate your listeners onto the room. But there's nothing to promote on the big club. We know it's going to be a hard year. So you promote the dream of what's coming. And that's why they'll be involved. Lardass, a little roughness, more, some great looks. You had times where I was like, ooh. And then other times they're like, oh. Same thing with Misiak. I don't know what that product is.
What's your thought on Pridham?
Again, just kind of there. Couple good shifts, a couple not so good shifts.
He's Spellacy's year in terms of draft class.
Yeah, it's just, nobody that I'm interested in having up in the big club. That's for sure.
Aside from Sam Renzel.
Yes. Renzel is, again, I got to go see him in practice. He's as advertised. He really, really looks the part. Okay. As much as I've been telling everybody to slow your roll.
Get excited. Sam Renzel is going to be a Norris winner.
Krusty was very impressed with him in practice and very impressed with him in the game. His assist on Harding's goal was pretty gosh darn nice. Set up so much that, Harding had time to dust off the puck, say a quick prayer, and then shoot before the goaltender still didn't quite make it over. He's a keeper unless they just decide for some reason they don't want him here. I think he's a lock. Artie, on the other hand, I don't know what they do with him. He's got to be reined in at some point in time. He can't play the way he plays all the time. He is frigging all over the place. So, but both of them shined and everything, and the forward group is just kind of there. They're going to go to Rockford or back to their junior teams, which is exactly where they're supposed to be in this part of their development.
Right.
Lardass and Moore both need to get a little bit stronger on their skates. And that's part of the league. That's part of maturing as a hockey player. So, again, as we've stated,
flying the D's.
Yeah, and as we've stated, this is not a lot. When I say Moore should be going to Rockford, I'm not saying Moore is a bust. We live in a real crazy world where if somebody says something that's like a tiny bit on one side, it's somehow taken to the extreme. No. Everybody's where they're supposed to be.
It's development, not demotion. We've been through this last year.
Correct. And I like the fact of a lot of the kids playing together and building that bond down in Rockford.
I know, that's what you tell me every time I'm getting antsy and I want Ethan DeMastro up at the big club.
Yeah. So,
all right.
And the second game, I was really entertained by the defensive group. It got chippy. Just like last year's prospect camp, I really thought, this is the way they're going to play defensively. They're not going to take a lot of crap after the whistle, and nobody's going to attack the goaltender. And then the season started, and it was exactly the same way where everybody's like,
I think
go do whatever.
Difference between how they perform in prospect camp and how they're going to perform at the beginning of the season, because it's quite literally a different roster.
Right. But the the objective needs to be the same. Number one is you have to start protecting your goaltender.
But we didn't have functional coaching.
You have to start playing physical in front of the net. And part of that is going to be the Pickle's going to have to start pushing people around.
Yep.
It's part of it. It's part of the process. Go on. Was that a sign to say something or?
No, I have something when you're done.
Okay. I'm done.
Another name that we didn't talk about a ton, and he didn't have anything particularly flashy, but it was one of the ones that I was intrigued to watch play, and he is going back to the WHL this year, is the Nathan Bain kid. I was I liked his game. I like that he seems a bit more confident in terms of like the physicality aspect of the game, not in the sense of like Spellacy and Cumby like beating the crap out of you or like physically hurting you, but he just seemed very sure of himself and not like trying to make himself small, or like, you know how like sometimes like Reichel and Core will like run away from getting
Right.
He seemed very confident in that, which I thought was great from an 18-year-old kid that still like can't even go to Rockford for a couple of years.
Yeah, most definitely. He gave you some glimpses also. You know, as we're trying to explain, you know, you can get excited about all these prospects, but everybody's got prospects that they get excited about. You got 32 teams
Right.
going through the same thing. It's crazy. They can develop a lot, a little. You don't
know.
Some of them, I hate to keep on saying I don't know. Why would you tune in and listen to me if I don't know anything? But please come back and tune in.
Please. All right. Jumping to the big club. So we've got training camp starting tomorrow when this show comes out. We've got training camp. Blend into preseason. Folks, as we talked about last week, just because your favorite guy gets sent home first does not mean he is the weakest link on training camp. Honestly, probably means he's a European and they're sending him back to his European league. But we're going to go through the training camp roster and cast our predictions.
Whoa.
A quick fire prediction. So, Christy, I've got the list for you.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
All right. First up, we'll do forwards first. Joey Anderson. You can just juniors, Rockford, Chicago.
Rockford
as well.
Oh, this is how we're going to do it? This is cool. Yeah. Okay.
Bedard, Chicago, obviously.
Yes.
Nathan Bain, I'm going to say back to juniors because, reminder, guys, he's in that period where he can't go to Rockford or anywhere, and he's not making the Chicago roster.
Correct, but they can use one exemption if I'm not mistaken now.
I feel like they would use it on Van Acker if they could.
Yeah, and there wasn't enough there that I would just send him back to, and hopefully he really shines. But go on.
Bert.
Huh?
The Bert.
Oh, he'll be back in juniors.
Bertuzzi, I mean.
Oh. Bert. Yeah, Bert's going to be stuck with us for another 4 years.
Unless he does bad, and then we can just swap him out for Savvy. Andre Burakovsky.
Yeah, he's on the big club.
Jackson Cates, Rockford.
Yes.
Colton Dock with a new number, friends. Because Burakovsky is taking 28, if you see a 34 on the ice, it is Colton.
Yeah, nobody should be wearing 28 to begin with, but let's not get into that.
I say Chicago. I'm manifesting it for Colton.
Okay, remember, do you have this written down somewhere? Because you only got so many spots.
Yeah.
And I am going to say
there's spot for one guy. And if I could have Colton or Landon, then I'm good.
Yeah, I hate the fact that there's just not a lot of spots. I say he's in Rockford.
We didn't want to block anybody.
He'll be in Rockford.
Jason Dickinson, Chicago.
Yes, Chicago.
Donato, our
Chicago.
true captain.
Yes. Our inspiration, our leader.
Unfortunately, our captain, Nick Foligno, will be in Chicago.
Yes.
Ryan Green, Rockford.
Ryan Green will be in Rockford.
Gavin Hayes, Rockford.
Yes.
Parker Holmes, back to Brantford.
Okay.
But I'll be intrigued to see the physicality for the glimpses that he'll get at the beginning of training camp, because him and Cumby are the big heavy hitters from this year's draft class. The man, the myth, the reason that Savvy isn't going to be in Chicago, Sam Lafferty.
I don't want to talk about it. He'll be on the big club.
Big club, but he's your forward that rides the bench so Colton Dot can get time. That's where I'm putting him.
Okay.
The Lardass. Rockford.
Yes. Oh, definitely.
Hide and seek and Paul.
He'll be down in Rockford, and hide and seek and Paul needs to start showing me some stuff.
Get it together. So when we keep everybody at the trade deadline, you can get called up.
Yeah, but this is a big make or break time. You've got way too many other forwards coming up.
Yeah.
You're going to have to start to make yourself look special and distance yourself. And as of now, my guy has not been doing that. So,
Mickey Mouse, big club.
Mickey Mouse will be there.
Martin Misiak, Rockford.
Yes.
This will be his first year that he can make the jump. I don't think he has to go back to Erie anymore.
Right. Yeah. Rockford.
Oliver Moore, Rockford.
Okay. And it was on my boards and everything. So we do have a nickname for him. I told the guy from the boards we will be using the nickname. I will be using the nickname. We will call him Rebel Yell. Because then we scream more. I thought it was genius. I guess I never even thought about it, but we'll call him the Rebel Yell, and he's the one that they're going to tease you with. Because with that speed will come excitement in the preseason. But yes, he needs to be down in Rockford. Hopefully plays well down there, and he is a call up at the trade deadline.
I'd like to, ideally come Rockford, I'd like to see, however you want to flip it, one or the other, but Oliver Moore and Ryan Green are your top 6 centermen, and you should be running the first and the second. And I really hate to put them at 1 versus 2, because I think they're both skilled, but I think just logistically, there's a number 1 centerman, number 2 centerman, but I think Coach Nightingale can easily kind of move that around. But that's at least my expectation for them going in, is they should not be bottom 6. Oliver Moore should not be running your third line down in Rockford.
No, especially Oliver Moore. That's a skill player, so he needs to play skill position. I guess there's a possibility he comes in as your third or fourth liner on a good team, but we'll worry about that later.
Right.
He needs top minutes.
Yeah.
Whether he's a center or not, we still don't know that one either.
No, but I think that's the place to test it, is certainly Rockford.
Most definitely.
I feel like I'm more convinced that Green has the potential to actually be a centerman.
Yes.
And Moore could be a C/left or right wing on the chart. But I think that's the opportunity to see, similar to how you kind of figured out with NASCAR, NASCAR, yes, is a centerman, because you tried it down in Rockford. It worked. You brought him up. But yeah, ideally, heck, keep Moore and Lardis on the same line in Rockford. That's fine. Just stick them in Rockford.
Yes.
Really rough. Frank, big club.
NASCAR?
Yeah.
Yes.
Jack Pridham back to juniors with the
Yes.
Kitchener Rangers. An interesting one. Lucas Reichel, my prediction. Big club and flipped.
Yeah, that's what everybody's saying. Um, Big club, and as a lot of other people have been saying, he needs to play with some skilled people. You've got to figure out what you have there. We've heard all the hype of how he's saying all the right things. He's working on his board work, one-on-one battles, yada yada yada. He's still a skilled player that needs to be playing in a top 6 role, hopefully.
Yeah.
So that means somebody else needs to move down. That means somebody else needs to move down. But he needs to play with some other skilled players, not on the 4th line with a couple of schmucks.
But that was his best performance last year.
Yes, because you're on limited minutes against another 4th liner and everything. I need to know what I have here.
Yeah.
So I need him against stiffer competition, and I need to see how he plays with greater talent. He's one of the guys we're pulling for.
Definitely pulling for. I just don't think Katie knows what to do with him. Similar to some of the other guys that are kind of on the cusp right now. I think Katie is just unsure. I mean, heck, I hope he goes into the season and plays phenomenal and kind of gives all of his previous coaches a giant middle finger. Because I don't think since coming here, he's received consistent structure in his coaching. But also, I don't think many of the kids have received consistent structure in their coaching. I think the only thing that's been consistent is the players only meetings post games run by the captain.
Well, I don't think even that last one was run by the captain. I believe that was run by Donato when he came out in Pittsburgh and said, I will not tolerate this crap throughout the end of the season. And at least that one was heard. So we'll see with Lucas. We hope for the best. I'm with you. I think they're hoping he can look normal and then be part of a package.
Yeah. Next up, we talked about him last week. And since camp is starting, and that means Rockford's starting and Chicago's starting, that means I have the excuse to talk about this kid every week until he makes it up to the big club. And then I will be absolutely, positively insufferable to everyone. And that is your Sam Savoie. I'm manifesting that he gets a spot in Chicago. Realistically, I don't think he will. I think he'll be in Rockford, but you never know. I hope he has an incredible training camp and blows everybody out of the water and has a spot come October 11th. But if not, he'll just be like down the expressway because Rockford's opening night is the same night again.
Yeah, and I don't know. I need like a pen and paper again to have. I've got him on the big club. I don't care. I need some heart, and I'll take him over Colton Beck. So
I will too. I think part of my brain thinks that they're going to lean more towards guys that have done a bit more back and forth and prioritize them. But I also think it's going to get to the point where it's time and place of who gets hurt and like what space is open.
Correct. I mean,
but I'd love to see him in Chicago. Are you kidding me?
That'd
be awesome. That'd be amazing. I would care again. It'd be great.
As I said, I'm still going to figure he's the one up and not
Colton
back. So
the girl can dream. It's both.
But I don't know who I've got, how many people I have on my squad.
Why not?
Okay, we don't have to Okay,
we
go
don't
on.
have to, we're not going back to this at any point. Captain of Rockford Ice Hogs, Brett Sini. I think I explained it. He's going back to Rockford. He is
Yes.
the leadership. The locker room seems to respond nicely to him. I think he does play a part in this sort of rebuild as being the consistent leadership as these kids are coming up and through Rockford from juniors or wherever they're coming from. I think you still need at least a couple of people that are going to be in Rockford for either like a long term or at least for the next couple of years, where it's like this is your job, is to kind of like mentor and be veteran leadership within this team. You're not going to them and being like, you can be replaced, like how Katie has done to some of the veterans up at the big club with all of these kiddos coming in. You need guys that are going to be in Rockford throughout. And I think that's Senny, and I think that's Anderson.
Yes. Yeah, I'm sure Senny will do the same thing. I know Anderson will. He's been in this position a long time. You bring up a kind of weird fact is down in Rockford, this kind of needs to be the kids' locker room. But you also need a veteran presence to show them how to play the game, how to compete on a daily basis. But you don't want to have the room listening to you. You want all these kids to come together and start their own talk.
Right.
And that's got to be very difficult.
Well, and I think it benefits Rockford because I think Rockford and Chicago are in kind of the opposite positions, where like Chicago, you have a ton of veterans and like a few kids that are fighting for positions, where now in Rockford, it's a decent amount are kids. And you have some veterans. I think the locker room definitely changes and the dynamic changes based on like how many veterans you have and how many veterans that are buying into the culture and the structure that coaching and management kind of desire. Because you can have all the vets, but if they don't buy into what your coach is saying, then you've just got the Hawks from last year. But I think a lot of it has to do with kind of like the age dynamic in terms of like how many vets you have versus how many kids.
Yeah, I think you're right on with that. And yeah, it's a big job for Anderson and Cini, but I think they'll accomplish it. So,
oh, definitely. Next up, one of our other favorites that is fighting for a spot, and that is your Landon Slaggert.
I've got to put him on the big club.
Yeah, me too. I can't.
Again, I'll worry if I actually have room, after we do this show and actually write all this stuff down. But yeah, Landon, I just think he should be up with the big club. So I'm going to put him there.
Yeah, same. Put a spell on you.
He's going back to the Spitfires, and hopefully he plays better than he did last year. Last year was a definite step back in his game. He'll be on his last year in juniors. He needs to
Are we just going off of stats for that? Or do you have insight?
I've got people that are Spitfire season ticket holders, so right. I do believe occasionally what he says.
Stat-wise, you had two guys that were basically running the show with the Windsor Spitfires last year, and that was Liam Greentree and Baby Protus.
Yes, but he needs. Yeah, this is a big year for him. So,
Tavo, big club.
Yeah, they will be on the big club
with the big brain. Club
things.
Aiden Thompson, Rockford.
Aiden Thompson, Rockford.
New one that was signed during free agency, your Dominic Tonantino, that will be Rockford.
Rockford.
That is an AHL guy. And your Merrick Vittnicker.
Who?
Van Acker.
Van Acker can still go back to juniors, right?
Yeah.
Then that's where he goes.
Defenseman.
Yeah.
One of my favorites. And unfortunately, I don't see this kid having a spot through no fault of his own, aside from size. And that is your Nolan Allen. I love his game. I love the feistiness. I think you backlog him and granted, you had to re-sign Creech, but I think that was, if Allen was going to have a spot, that was it. So I'm saying Rockford. But he gets called up the first time Connor Murphy gets hurt.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So gosh, where do I want to put him? I say I put him up with the big club.
Love it. You got the Creech.
Creech I put back in Rockford.
Oh.
Yeah. I want that big presence down in Rockford. I think he serves me more value than up with the big club.
I'm going to go with you, Rockford. Ashton Cumbie.
He's down in Rockford. Unless he can't go back to Seattle, so he's down in Rockford.
I think you're probably right, but I'm just making sure. Oh, yeah. Rockford. God, that's going to be entertaining if I could get Ashton Cumbie and Louis Crevier on the same line. That would be fun. That would be fun the first time we play Milwaukee. My favorite, aside from Artie and Rinzel, you're Ethan DeMastro. Kyle, give him time. Give him time up in the big club, please. I'm saying Chicago. I'm manifesting it for him. I want him to have time.
See, this is where the whole defensive thing gets weird is where's Artie going to go? And where's Core going to go?
Core's in Rockford.
Okay. If they're both... So if I'm building... ADM's in Rockford.
Kevin Fitzgerald, Rockford.
Yep.
The new one, the PTO that Kyle signed that I really don't understand. Kyle, I thought we've been over this, that we weren't going to block any of these young kids, but you have I can't pronounce his last name. His name's Matt, the current PTO kid.
Grizzly?
Where does what's the need? Where does he go? Granted, he's on a PTO, so it may not be anything, but he's still on the camp roster.
I think he's your, if he looks good, he is your depth defenseman. But he's also a specialist. He's a power play quarterback. So
Kyle's really trying to trade Korchinski, isn't he?
But if your game plan is to send back Artie and Core, you need somebody to run the power play, and I don't think that should be Rinzel.
No.
Not
to say that he can't. He will eventually. That is his future, yes, but not right now.
So Matt's, it's a little weird one, or he doesn't do anything. But the fact of the matter is you have Murphy as the only one who's over 24, I think, or 25. Right. And what are the odds that Murphy plays the first 20 games? I mean, that's 50-50. So right. You're going to need another veteran around. So it'll be interesting. As I've always said, if I take away how I want them developed, I'd much rather watch all the kids.
Right.
Watch the old people, but I just don't know how this is going to play out. It'll be interesting.
Yeah. Tage Harding, Rockford.
Yes.
Ty Henry is hurt, so exempt, but juniors. Do you think with our next one up, with Wyatt Kaiser. Do you think that that KD did the PTO for the Matt kid because talks with Kaiser are not going well? Because just as a reminder, friends, Wyatt Kaiser still doesn't have a contract.
I can't imagine he did. I don't know exactly what the heck's going on there. I'm hearing a lot of weird rumors. I've just got to figure that Kaiser's overvaluing himself. Again, I'm not a huge fan, so I don't know what happens with him.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave him off because he's unsigned. That's the easy route for me.
That's fair. Core. Rockford.
Core's going to Rockford.
Dmitry Kuzmin, who I really did enjoy his camp, but I'm saying Rockford. And even better if Artie's in Rockford and you have Artie and Kuzmin playing together. Because I know you don't like the whole fluff of countrymen playing together, but I think Kuzmin is more structured than Artie by a lot in terms of not being all over the place. And I think it's nice to have that balance. You need someone who isn't so blah, 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 that's going to be with Artie. You can't have two spazzes.
No, and you need to start to get Artie to communicate things a little better, and that's probably a good idea with somebody who speaks his own language, because Artie's going to have to figure out he needs to play within a structure.
Yeah.
Part of that structure is going to be the understanding that he's a risk taker.
Yeah.
But not to the level he's at.
Which is fine. But you need to learn take risks. This works perfectly because Artie's next on our list. Taking risks is fine, and I think taking risks should be encouraged, but you need to know the mindset of time and place and kind of understanding which situations you have a bit more freedom to take risks and which situations you need to be more structured and kind of just go more by the book.
Correct.
Artie in Rockford. I'd love to see him in the big club, but I think Rockford would be the best for him for his development.
I am going to go with Artie in Rockford also, which then would lead me to believe that I will have Creature up instead of down.
Well, we still have a couple left.
Yes, we do. But with Artie, I need people to start coaching him. And that has to be priority number one in Rockford.
Yeah.
Because I need that done within a year. I expect him to be on the big club the following year and with a lot more understanding of what he can and cannot do.
I would even, and not to the speed in which it happened with NASCAR, but even if we get to a point, you know, like around the holidays or like earlier than, not immediate, but earlier than the trade deadline, if they're like, if you see progress, legitimate progress within Artie's game, not to say that he's fixed his imperfections completely, but to the point where you're like, this is a different player than he was last year. I'm even fine with a call up just based on performance. I don't think he's in that position where he needs to be in Rockford for the sake of being in Rockford the entire season. Granted, I also do think maybe just being in Rockford would benefit him more, especially because the AHL is still going to run throughout February. So even if he's in the big club, I think he should be sent down in February during the Olympics. So he at least gets additional games and additional playing time. I think that should be the case with a lot of the younger kids. But yeah, I'm saying Artie to Rockford. Ryan Mast, Rockford.
Yes.
Andrew Perrott, Rockford. Sam Renzel, this man is not going to play a game in Rockford. He's going to the big club because he's great. He's got things to work on, but he's going to work on them up here because gosh, if some of my favorites are still going to be up in or down in Rockford, I'd like to see some of my favorites on the big club come October. So him and the pickle, obviously, in the big club.
Yes. Yeah, no, Sam definitely makes it, unless there's a major hiccup. Core's got a lot to prove. I've given my opinions on Core for a while. I guess he might be the only other one. You have Alan Creature and Core fighting for two spots at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
Or unless they decide to go with EDM. EDM is just a solid player.
I love
So it's going to be what they want to do.
And for people that don't like him because he's not a flashy guy, he's not meant to be a flashy guy. He plays kind of a boring game when it comes to defensemen. That's why you have Artie for the flashiness. He's great on the penalty kill. He's a solid dude. I will always be tooting the horn of give EDM more credit.
Yeah, and again, he's a player that could easily make the team out of camp also. Him and Allen are battling. Creatures in there, and Core. That's four people that are going to be battling like crazy.
Yeah.
For the position, and it should be very interesting.
Oh, well, and my bad, we jumped over, but Connor Murphy's obviously making the big club until he gets hurt, and then EDM gets called up. Goaltenders, really quick. We've got a little bit of an interesting list, kind of. First off, we've got Stanislav Bereznoy, who I didn't know, and this makes me love this kid even more. He does not speak a word of English. Nothing at all. So obviously now he's one of my favorite goaltenders. He will be in Rockford with Drew, is my prediction. But the other thing that I wanted to note is that the second goaltender from the Prospect Showcase this past weekend, Owen Flores, is not listed at camp. So I don't know kind of what the situation is. Maybe they kind of just have the expectation that he's going to be down in Indy. But you've got Bereznoy. I'm saying Rockford. What are you saying?
Yep.
Laurent Bressot will never play a game in Chicago or Rockford for the duration of his contract because he's still hurt. He's not playing.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with him. We've got to figure worst case scenarios. They send him down to Rockford.
Yeah. The only on the bright side, because I know a lot of people were saying that this pickup was horrible, and it indeed was. However, I think you wouldn't have the coming out party for Arvid Soderblom and Arvid Soderblom's development for the past couple of years without this injury.
Yeah, correct. And you can say that, but okay, you can give Katie maybe some crap. He should have known this physical thing, but he played really well.
A thing called HIPAA.
He played really well his year with the Jets.
Yeah.
He didn't have Spencer Knight yet.
Right.
I don't fault, and I love pointing out Katie's faults. No, it was a good signing. We're not in any trouble anyways. We've got
so many goaltenders,
so much cap space. It's not funny. He can easily go down to Rockford. He can either get pissy about it and then decide, hey, take back your money and release me, which he's not going to do.
No.
Or he'll get some games in Rockford, and if he plays well, he'll get more time in Rockford.
There you go. Next up, speaking of Rockford, Drew Commesso, the future of goaltending in the city of Chicago, will be in Rockford. Like we've said for the past couple of weeks, this is a make or break in terms of I want to see the consistent level that he had at the end of the season, especially like the postseason, even though he said he was at like 80%. It was still great to watch. I think there was a lot of up and down throughout the season, and then he found consistency towards the end of the season. We need to start where we left off when we got eliminated in Milwaukee and kind of go up. We can't have these big just dives throughout the year. But Rockford.
Well, you're not going to start there. Sorry. It's going to be a rough beginning. You've got a lot of young forwards, and some were just teaching how to play defense. It's going to be a rocky beginning at Rockford. As long as they can come together, I need to see him then after their All-Star break, which will be in Rockford.
Yep.
Him then start to make his upward trajectory and them to get a little bit in the playoffs. I don't need him to start off great because I do know it's going to be kind of messy in front of him. But I am not that worried about him. I love his
No, I'm
game.
not worried
So
no, but I do just think, every year we get more and more closer to the possibility of Drew jumping up to the big club on a more consistent level and not just all the other two goaltenders are hurt, so I have to play a game in the NHL. We're getting closer and closer to that. And so I think now is the time where it's like we need to see more, just a bit more, because you're getting closer to making that next jump.
I can dig it.
Next up, Spencer Knight, Chicago.
Yes.
Enough said. Arvid Soderblom, Chicago.
Yep, and Bloom will be backing up Knight. So
Yes. Mitch Weeks, Indy.
yes.
I'm assuming, because apparently they just didn't like his game in Rockford. But I also think Indy might just be where he plays the best. I don't think he was still kind of thrown into, playing up at a higher level, even stemming from like a couple of years ago when we just had no goaltenders whatsoever and everybody was playing up at the big club. So I think Indy, mainly just because we got Bereznoi. Who knows? Not to say that he will never play in Rockford. I think he could get called up at a point, but I think he at least starts off in Indy.
Yes.
All right, that is the team. Camp starts today when this comes out. Preseason starts in like a week.
Yep.
Great. All great things. Guys, hockey is coming. We've made it. We see the light is in front of us at the end of the tunnel. Christy, do you have anything else for this week?
No, as I stated, I'll get more into it. I'll be better prepared next week. Hopefully.
Just as a reminder, friends, make sure to hit that like and subscribe on either Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, however you watch or listen to us ramble on a weekly basis. That is all. And we will talk to you guys next week.